Ito po sa Gawa 2:39. Sapagkat sa inyo ipinangako ang kaloob, sa inyo at sa inyong mga anak, at sa lahat ng nasa malayong mga panahon at mga dako, maging ilan man ang tawagin ng Panginoon nating Diyos sa Kanya. Sa binasa po natin, mga mahal na kaibigan, ay may binabanggit po rito na 3 grupo ng mga tao na pinangakuan ng kaloob ng Espiritu Santo, kapatid na Michael.
Siguro dapat isa-isahin natin kung sino-sino sila.
Ang sabi rito, sa inyo, yan ang una. Yung kausap ng mga apostol noon, nung banggitin ang talatang ito, ang hulang ito. At sa inyong mga anak.
Yun ang pangalawa.
Pangalawa.
Ang sino yung pangatlo, kapatid na Bobby?
Ang pangatlo, kapatid na Michael, ay yung nasa malayo o malayong mga panahon at malayong mga dako.
This fake INC, the INCM, how I couldn't say it's fake, for as they themselves said the Church of Christ was already established by Jesus in Israel, so that just means there is existing ministry and existing leaders and existing doctrine. Is fond of teaching erroneous teachings, as they are always misinterpreting the messages of the Scripture. If they read words from Bible, far off land they said it is Philippines, and even read the Acts 2 verse 39 with word distance times as though there is no such words like that in the original Bible, as just to connect it to Felix Manilo's time, to prove that Felix Manalo was sent by God. They even said Felix Manalo is the last prophet, so the INCM and the Islamic is vying if he was the true last prophet. But both of them is wrong, because what the INC of Manalo using us to prove that Felix Manalo is the last prophet is about of what they said the prophet of the last days. If it is about last days, so how could it be Felix Manalo, since Manalo already exists on May 10, 1886, while the Islamic, using the Surah 33 verse 40, as this is indeed concoction, or interpolation, surely in First Quran was written Jesus is not the father of any one your man but a prophet of Allah, because the Islamic not believing that Jesus is a father, as he called his apostles as children. But when was rewritten they made it Muhammad is not a father of any one your men, and the fact when Jesus recited the scripture, gospel, to Muhammad, Muhammad has no men yet, because Muhammad was been directed by Jesus not to preach until Jesus' recitation of the scripture to Muhammad was completed, as the fact almost from 99 or 33 of Quran with different versions, the Islamic chose the best one from it. And as the facts almost all the names Muhammad in Quran is being used to replace the names of Jesus, as that is why Muhammad marked off or crashed out his names from the manuscript, but when was being compiled they put back the names of Muhammad. Now is about this Acts 2 verse 39, Peter is referring to Israel, then to the generations of the Israel, then to all the Gentiles, that will be called by God. This is not about Felix Manalo established church or the Reformed Church of Felix Manalo who didn't honor Jesus as Christ the God, as Apostle John called them Antichrist, and who will be used by God and Jesus to call the peoples of the far-off land. As was written it start from Jerusalem, so it start from apostles, as Jesus commanded them to go and make disciples of all the nations. Then as was turned over to the Romans concerning the words of Jesus about Matthew 21 verse 43, be given to the ones that will continue of making disciples of all the nations, which was the Romans mainly the European or Roma descendants of Noah, as was justified by Peter and Paul in 1 Peter 2 verse 9, Romans 16 verse 16. Acts 20 verse 38 to 32, Ephesians 5 verse 3, and 8 and 9, Romans 15 verse 16. These are about RCC, or priesthood ministry, as the promise is to Abraham's 2 sons and their descendants. So why Jesus will give the church or ministry of the church to the Philippines, or to the USA, or to other nations, I could explain as why these verses are about RCC.